Alright, here again, we're going to talk a little bit about the songs that are found on Savior Sect's 1996 demo, Echoes of the Decline. A little bit of what went on in my mind when I was writing those songs, and maybe a little insight into the actual period of time there in the mid-90s as to what was going on around the band as well. The first track on Echoes of the Decline is As Shadows Rise. As Shadows Rise, as far as my memory goes, as far as I can go back again in time, I believe was the very first track written for this demo, so I think it actually kind of worked out, whereas first track written became first track on the demo. Again, this was the first of the Savior Sect improvisational songs. The complete song was done in improv mode, which means I laid down the drum machine track, and then having other free tracks open, I just kind of improvised the bass, and on top of that laid down several guitar tracks. Now I remember this was the first Savior Sect track to actually feature a real effects processor, so I didn't have the same limitations that I was dealing with any of the songs back on Story in Your Eyes. This one here, I was able to create a lot of variety of sounds, and I kind of remember really enjoying As Shadows Rise just for the sake of hearing these different sounds and these single note overlays that were going on throughout the song. Again, this song, like the majority of the record, was kind of a play-by-feel thing. Everything was almost jazz-like in composition. I'd sit down and record whatever feel I pulled off of the rhythm section. And when I laid down one guitar track, then I would concentrate on the three tracks and try to feel further in setting moods and experimenting with effects. So the Savior Sect takes were 99.9% of the time done in one take. I usually relied solely on my feelings to get the music across, so it was very off the cuff, very spontaneous, and that was actually the feeling I was looking for, kind of like living in the moment of doing the songs. Now, again, as I mentioned in the talk of discussing the actual demo itself, this kind of structure limited the commercial type potential that the first three demos were in some respects striving for. Verse chorus structures, a catchiness, kind of distinct breakdowns of the song. This here was going to be super experimental, but I remember really liking the atmospheres that were coming out of this. I mean, during the Story in Your Eyes, some of those recording sessions, I was really starting to feel that the darker, more gothic-y tracks were working best for us. Kind of Gates of Winter and Waiting Funeral Winds, and songs like that were, or the remake of Spirit of the Stairway. Those types of songs I felt were the successes on the last on Story in Your Eyes, the preceding demo, and I felt that the actual punk stuff was starting to fade anyway. I felt that those were the more punk-oriented tracks on that album were I felt were weak weaknesses or weaker moments on that demo. So again, Story in Your Eyes was a very pivotal release between the first two demos we did and Echoes of the Decline, which fast became something quite different. So I felt that, again, this improvised, weird, creepy style was made manifest on this demo, which is actually kind of the first demo to feature that 90s Savior Sect sound. As Shadows Rise, kind of despite all of that, sort of has this upbeat, poppy type of thing going on, which I find rather interesting in retrospect, listening to it. It fits in very well with the remaining 5 songs, but again, definitely the most upbeat and happier moment on the demo, which kind of sets an upbeat mood when it starts, and the rest of the demo kind of slides into a more morbid sound as it progresses. My thoughts then, again, were really, I was excited about this new sound, and again, I had experimented with this improv on other demos before this, but not Savior Sect. So once it hit Savior Sect, it was kind of like a milestone, like, yes, this is really going to work for this band, and all my exercises through 95 and trying to establish a sound I felt really would pay off by this point. So after I finished As Shadows Rise, I was really happy, and I'm like, yeah, the rest of the demo tape is going to take this mode, and I was able to divorce myself from the writings of the first 3. Lyrically, As Shadows Rise kind of, again, was almost an autobiographical type of piece for the band. I mean, it was very man has feelings for a girl, and his interpretations or his ways of going about showing his love for this girl were kind of very wrapped up in myself, of course, as mentioned with the last demo, of feeling very romantic towards Anastasia, kind of another scenario which, you know, again, is very, almost kind of sat down and wrote about Savior Sect to some degree with As Shadows Rise, kind of very, you know, man showing again feelings for a woman and expressing them through activities in the song, and it was really me expressing those things through these lyrics, and it was again, as a duo, it kind of made us work closer together, so I kind of felt this, not only these romantic feelings, but also a camaraderie at this point, because, you know, we had survived the fires of Story in Your Eyes, and now we were working on something that at the time I was considering to be a better and more focused project. So that brings us to